Okay, seriously, I just yawned like a few seconds before starting this video. So here's to hoping that I will not be interrupted by doing such a thing of the video. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yes, it's Tuesday, July 2nd. We are pretty much well over halfway to 2019. It is awesome. And I totally screwed up what I was trying to do yesterday when it came down to, one thing that something that I wanted to say. And that was, darn, I just lost train of thought again. Why does that happen? Okay, I remember what it was. Basically, I think one thing that allows me to continue to, do this every day is, I guess, in a way, even though I clearly don't really feel it, maybe there is a bit of, angst within me. So, doing these videos, definitely helps. I mean, again, I really don't mean, nothing's wrong with me, nothing like, I'm perfectly fine, I'd be able to show you how fine I am, but, I don't really, know how to show it off. So, until I can somehow find a way to do so, just, take my word for it, I guess. So, with all of that out of the way, how about we get into the newest episode of Amphibia that premiered yesterday, which is Lily Pad Thai and Planner's Last Stand. Now, Lily Pad Thai was actually an episode I was really looking forward to because before Amphibia premiered, this is actually one of the episodes they were most proud of making. one of those behind the scenes featurettes that Disney was doing. Basically, Anne and the Planner family, Sprig, Polly, and Hop Hop go to a restaurant called Stumpy's for dinner. And yes, the restaurant is in fact called Stumpy's. And the owner is named Stumpy, and he's actually voiced by John DiMaggio, who has voiced notable, great cartoon characters like the Scotsman from Samurai Jack, Dr. Draken from Kim Possible, which is also a Disney property, and of course everyone's favorite, Bending Rodriguez from Futurama. Love me some Bender from Futurama. Anyway, so I tried to roll my tongue earlier. I couldn't do it. Hold on. Rodriguez. There we go. That works. Anyway, so the restaurant doesn't really look very good. It's not really up to code sanitary wise. The food really isn't that great. So there's this one critic who's like, no, I'm going to give you, basically this guy was essentially a Yelper. Only in frog form is what he was. So, I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give this place a 1-star review and it's going to go out of business. And then Anne's like, no, I bet I can probably, fix this place so you can give this place, a great review. And, we actually get into a little bit more of Anne's backstory, where her parents actually run a Thai restaurant, back on Earth. And, obviously she has worked in there from time to time, so it makes sense that, Anne would use some of that culinary knowledge to, help, Stumpy's out. And, they do other stuff like, clean it, maintain it, change some decorative scenery, stuff like that. And at first, Stumpy isn't really, happy with it. But, over time he sort of warms up and it really does, become successful. And, eventually they do, create, food that's good enough to, get good reviews and, they'll be able to, stay open, stuff like that. But the way they do it's great because at first the critic is having, none of what's happening. So Anne gets a giant, and this is a funny joke. They get a giant squid, and so Anne and Stumpy are pulling it in from the outside. Anne's like, man, squids sure are big here. And then Stumpy's like, that's not a squid, that's actually a kraken. So, krakens are confirmed to exist, ladies and gentlemen. which is weird because I do believe they were only existent in Greek mythology. So there we go. Anyway, so turns out they don't quite kill the giant squid before they prepared it. So it actually attacks the critic. And this is a really cool thing about Stumpy. I think Stumpy's probably like one of my favorite side characters. Where he's called Stumpy because, both of his hands are cut off. But he replaced, his weapons with detachable, tools. Like, one of his tools is a spatula. Another one's like a frying pan. But for the sake of fighting the squid, he gets out a giant meat tenderizer, which is essentially a hammer, and he beats the squid with it. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I mean, nothing says win like giant hammer. If anyone played the 64 Smash Brothers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, so, they save the critic, thankfully, and the critic is like, that was exciting, that was great, I'm gonna totally give you guys a good review. So, yes, they save the day, and Stumpy remarks that, Anne's parents will be proud. So, that's always really nice. And the episode ends with, Anne shaking Stumpy's hand, but, Stumpy doesn't have hands. He has, kitchen utensils where his hands are. So, Anne is, grabbing, Stumpy's spatula. And then Anne says, so what's a spatula made out of anyway? And then Stumpy's like, oh, those are the bones from my old hand that have been carved in the form of the spatula. They're like, ew! That was great. And disturbing, too. It's dark humor, but it's in a way where it's just barely not subtle. I love that. That's great. So, yeah, that was Lily Pad Thai, and I'm not kidding. I really want to try Thai food now. Or more Thai. I have had some Thai food in the past, but I'm totally open to having more. I should look up, actually, there's the Taste in India. That's in, on Market Street in Corning. I think that might be Thai food. I don't know. But, yeah, there's that. And then there's, Planner's Last Stand, where, where we get a little more backstory into, what the Planner family does for a living. They own a vegetable stand. They're farmers and, they own a vegetable stand. But eventually it becomes why am I hesitating on this? The food stand tax has actually been increased. So Anne's like, Anne comes up with a great product that, you sort of have to quote unquote sell in order to make money. Which at first Hop Hop is against because, the Planner's, vegetable stand was founded on, honesty, which, is a good, basically it's, yeah, you can have a good product, but if you're going to lie about it, it may not be as good as what it is, and you should probably, be honest with what you are selling. That's basically what the episode is. But it turns out that Hop Hop, even though he really has an affinity for honesty, he's actually pretty decent also at, sort of upselling something. Basically, the product they make is a potion that they squeeze, juice out of a gourd, and they sell it as if it's a potion that, allows you to live forever, makes you super strong, one of those, gimmicky type things. But, it's pretty, everything here is done really well. The humor is, really spot on. And, eventually Hop Hop confesses to, what he's doing. And, he hopes to earn back the trust of everyone. And, the episode ends with essentially, the stand basically not really being around anymore because, they can't really pay for the tax or whatever. And so the episode ends with all four characters riding on Bessie, the giant snail. And, they're like, this will be good. Maybe we could use this time to get, time off. And then they're just standing there like, And then Hop Pop says, "Holy frog, I'm out of a job! I'm unemployed." It was unemployed. So, yeah. Overall, the humor in these episodes are great. I'm really loving the show. As of, today, we will be halfway through the first season because episode 10 will be, today. So, cannot wait for that. So, yeah, cannot wait to talk about this more. As for everything else, Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out today. I'm going to try and see that because considering how busy I am going to be this week with it being 4th of July, I really want to get, a few affairs in order, and one of them is definitely seeing Spider-Man Homecoming. I mean, come on, I already made a big deal about seeing Avengers Endgame. I should definitely see if, actually, I'm wondering, are we going to be considering Spider-Man Far From Home? Why am I saying Homecoming? Spider-Man Far From Home. That is the episode. That is the movie. That is the movie that I'm going to be seeing today. Thank you. So is Spider-Man Far From Home going to be the first movie in Phase 4? Or is it going to be sort of like an epilogue of, Phase 3? Like, some great novels have like an epilogue at the very end. I wonder if Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be, that epilogue. I mean, not that this isn't already known, but they're building Spider-Man to be essentially the new cornerstone foundation sort of piece that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs to move forward after the events of Endgame, which, again, there's some things I don't really want to spoil about Endgame, but let's just say they could not be more blatant about making Spider-Man like the main hero of the MCU from now on. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still going to have Doctor Strange, we're still going to have Black Panther, we're still going to have Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm still saying they really should end, Phase 4 with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but that's just me. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing, what this movie's about, and again, I'll be sure to let you guys know what's going on, what it is overall. And with all that taken care of, how about I talk about one thing I want to talk about? Volcarona! The new Pokemon they mentioned, how good was Volcarona actually? The first Generation 5 Pokemon, and believe it or not, a Pokemon that I've used playing through Black and White. Yeah, I have. Which, okay. Black and White did a lot of great things, but they also did quite a few silly things. And one of them is introducing probably two of the best Pokemon throughout the entire history of the game. And both of them require a very incredibly, ridiculously high level in order to get to that evolution. To put things into perspective, you find Volcarona's pre-evolution, which is Larvesta, in an egg. And you have to hatch that egg. And when a Pokemon hatches, it starts from level 1. It does not evolve into Volcarona until level 59. That is the longest gap between one pre-evolution to its final evolution in the entire series of the game. The history of the game, that's the widest gap in between. Now, it's not the highest level involved to reaching a final evolution. That actually goes to another Pokemon that they'll probably get to eventually, but I'll get to that when they talk about it. But yeah. In fact, here's what I did when I used Volcarona myself. I actually had both Black and White. I played Black until I got to when you get to, the Larvesta egg. Hatched the egg, transferred the level 1 Larvesta over to White, played through the majority of White as Larvesta, and evolved into Volcarona from there. It was not easy to do. Especially since Pokemon started doing a thing where the higher the level you are, the less experience you get when battling opponents and other wild Pokemon. So, yeah, it was not easy, but I got it to work. But when you get Volcarona, it is so liberating. Although I do have to go with what Chucker Conroy said. If you're playing casually, it's not really worth getting Volcarona. It's not. But if you are going to attempt it, and if you do try and do it, it is so worth it. Just like making these videos is worth it every day. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy today. I'm hoping you have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here, the London here, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices.